You ever get a feeling life might just give you a second chance? Imagine waking up one morning, only to realize you've been reborn, and this time, you can hear what people are thinking. It's like suddenly having a secret superpower, but instead of making life easier, it pulls you into a dangerous game filled with lies, family drama, and dark secrets. Before we dive in, I notice some of you haven't subscribed yet. Go ahead and hit that button so you don't miss what happens next in this crazy story. I was reborn on the day my sister and I were supposed to pick our husbands. The day was supposed to be normal, full of smiles and hopeful looks toward the future. But as I sat there, I suddenly heard a voice, clear and loud in my head. It was my sister's voice, but this time, it wasn't soft or loving. It was sharp, full of urgency. This time, I have to grab the best husband before she does. I blinked, confused. Had I lost my mind? Then I realized something incredible. I could hear other people's thoughts. It was like suddenly seeing through walls, listening in on secret conversations inside their heads. And judging by what I just heard, my sister had been reborn too. We were both here, alive again, with memories from our past lives and secrets. Back in that past life, things had been different. I had married a man everyone called gentle, kind and caring, or so it seemed on the surface. But my sister had pulled him away from me, and I ended up with the man who had hurt her, the one who beat her. I laughed to myself at the memory. Did she really think the man I'd married was a good person? No way. I knew the truth. Now, sitting at the dinner table, I looked across at the two men my family wanted us to marry. Both were around the same age. The first was Logan Carter, eldest son of the Carter family. Cold, distant, and known to be a serious businessman. The other was Ethan Carter, the youngest son, but technically illegitimate. People said he was gentle and mild-mannered, the kind of man who seemed easy to get along with. Suddenly, I heard that voice again, my sister's voice echoing inside my mind. This time, I have to grab the best husband first. I glanced at her. She hadn't said a word out loud. Instead, she stared straight at Ethan, her eyes wide with determination. Just wait, the voice whispered in my mind, I'm going to take you away this time. My heart pounded. I wasn't just seeing my sister's anger, I was hearing it, clear as day. Our father suddenly spoke, breaking the silence. Susan, since your sister has chosen Ethan Carter, you will marry Logan Carter. Sophia's eyes filled with satisfaction. In her mind, I heard her sneer, this time, you can take the beatings for me. My past life flashed before me. Sophia had married Logan, the man no one wanted to cross. He was a successful businessman, always busy and cold to her. She tried desperately to get close to him, but each time she failed. He beat her, and after years of no children, Mrs. Carter declared her infertile and kicked her out of the family. Meanwhile, I had married Ethan. Though he had little power, he cared for me. He took me shopping, treated me kindly, and everyone in the Carter household knew how much he doted on me. After Logan's sudden death by poisoning, Ethan inherited the family business, and my status rose overnight. But jealousy ate Sophia alive. Consumed with rage, she deliberately drove her car into me while I was out shopping. The crash killed us both. Back at the table, I smiled at my father and said calmly, all right, Dad. I actually like Logan too. Without hesitation, I walked over and sat beside Logan Carter. The moment I sat down, an icy chill wrapped around me. His presence was so strong it made me hesitate to speak. No wonder Sophia had suffered so much in the past life. I tried to listen to his thoughts, but his mind was a wall, silent and unreadable. However, when Ethan looked at Sophia and smiled, his voice echoed clearly in my head, what a beautiful little doll. A shiver ran down my spine. On impulse, I grabbed Logan's hand. Despite his cold personality, his hand was warm. He glanced at me sharply, and I quickly let go. He returned to silence. Even though Logan seemed intimidating, I felt safer with him than with Ethan, the snake wrapped in venom. This time, I was determined to change my fate. I would become independent, make my own money, and never rely on anyone again. Our wedding was held on the same day as before. In the past, Logan hadn't even shown up, while Ethan arrived early, winning everyone's praise as the considerate husband. History threatened to repeat itself. Ethan, dressed in a crisp white suit, carried Sophia away, casting a smug glance in my direction. "Susan, where's Logan? Didn't he come for you?" she sneered. I smiled softly. "No need to worry, Sophia. Just take care of yourself." Her face darkened, clearly upset by my calm. In her mind, I heard her threaten, "Go ahead and laugh now. We'll see who's laughing when you're the one getting beaten." But this time, I wasn't the same. I remembered how Sophia had been the one beaten in the past. This time, I would stand my ground. Logan, just like before, didn't attend the wedding. Sophia clung to Ethan proudly, blurted out, "I love you, Ethan," and kissed him boldly. She turned to stare at me, lips still wet, waiting for me to lose my temper and make a scene like I had in the past. But I wasn't stupid. Unlike before, I didn't storm out angrily, handing the family a scandal. I stayed composed. With a gentle smile, I took the microphone and addressed the guests. Logan had an important business deal today, so I'll be giving the wedding toast on his behalf. I hope you all don't mind. The murmuring stopped instantly. Even Mrs. Carter, sitting at the main table, gave me a look of new respect. The Carter family was famous for its strictness and reputation. A daughter-in-law had to show grace, poise, and composure. Sophia noticed Mrs. Carter's reaction and glared at me with hatred. "Disgusting," she sneered in her mind. "Just wait for the tea ceremony. I'll make sure you embarrass yourself." But this power, the ability to hear thoughts, was like having a cheat code for life. Everything was easier when you knew what others were thinking. When the tea ceremony began, I walked confidently toward Mrs. Carter. Sophia's eyes were locked on me, counting down. At the last second, I stepped aside, and Mrs. Carter lost her balance, falling and spilling tea all over herself. Gasps filled the room. Ethan rushed to help her, but in his mind, I heard him scoff, "What an idiot." Mrs. Carter's face darkened, but she didn't scold me. Instead, Sophia stammered, "I'm sorry, Mother. It wasn't on purpose." Her eyes, however, showed she was unwilling to accept defeat. If I were her, I would have accepted the loss and stayed quiet. But Sophia wasn't willing to let me have peace, so I wouldn't go easy on her. With Sophia embarrassing herself, the wedding ended in awkward silence. Mrs. Carter ignored her but gave me a warm look and said, "Susan, tonight I'll make sure Logan comes home. He should make it up to you." And sure enough, that night Logan returned. He came in exhausted, loosened his tie, and barely spoke. I stepped forward and gently took his jacket. "Logan, you must be tired." He just glanced at me, silent. In my past life, the servants whispered how Logan never came home on our wedding night, leaving Sophia alone and humiliated. That night, I prepared the bed and tidied the room while Logan showered. When he came out and saw the scene, surprise flashed in his eyes. "You sleep on the bed. I'll take the couch." He narrowed his eyes, studying me. "Susan, are you trying to play hard to get?" he said, shirt half open, droplets of water still on his chest. I quickly looked away. His body was incredible, strong and fit, but I stayed firm. We have no feelings for each other. Sharing a bed would be awkward. I want a partnership. A business arrangement. I married you for stability, not love. Logan smirked. "You're smart. That works for me." I had no skills to control a man like Logan. My survival depended on how Mrs. Carter saw me. I wanted no abuse, no isolation like Sophia had suffered. Peaceful coexistence was my goal. To keep appearances, I had Logan post a photo of us holding hands on social media, captioned "Happy Newlyweds." Everyone believed our marriage was fine. Scrolling through his profile, I noticed how empty it was, just the new post. Someone like him must have a dull life. That night, Logan took the bed. I slept on the couch. He didn't force me into anything, and I was grateful for that. The next morning, I woke to the sound of him working out push-ups, music playing. People said cold men were weak, but Logan's 8-pack abs and toned muscles told a different story. "Stop staring. I'm not interested in you." He got up and put on his shirt. Get ready. Let's eat breakfast. I knew what he meant. He wanted to be seen with me, to make our marriage look real. We stepped outside and saw Sophia and Ethan holding hands. Sophia wore a strapless dress, with hickeys marking her collarbones, proudly showing them off. She scanned me with pride and mocked, "Susan, how was your wedding night?" I smiled and said firmly, "Sophia, as the senior daughter-in-law, you should call me sister-in-law." Her face darkened, refusing to accept it. "Even Logan doesn't call you that." "What right do you have?" she spat. She turned to Logan, demanding, "Say something." The air grew cold. I heard Ethan curse in his mind, furious. Logan said calmly, "What is the first rule of the Carter family?" Ethan bowed his head. "Show proper respect. Greet your brother and sister-in-law properly." Then, with a sharp smack, Logan slapped Sophia across the face. Her face burned red, but she knew better than to defy him. "Good morning, brother." "Good morning, sister-in-law." Ethan dragged her away. Under the table, I saw Ethan prick her hand with a needle, cursing her mindlessly. In my past life, he had tortured me like that, and I had no way out. This time, I vowed never to be helpless again. Mrs. Carter arrived and saw Sophia still in that revealing dress. She struck her on the back with her cane, furious. "Shameless! What you do is your business, but don't speak of it in public. Don't dress indecently again. You're humiliating the family." In the Carter household, even maids were punished for small mistakes. I had survived by being cautious, but Sophia never understood that. During dinner, Logan remained silent but casually fed me food from his plate. Sophia glared, seething. Mrs. Carter smiled approvingly and said to me, "Susan, after lunch, you should go to the company with Logan. As the eldest daughter-in-law, you need to understand the business." Sophia refused the same opportunity before, saying she would rely on Logan forever. I nodded, obedient. Logan took me to his office and left me there to wait while he headed to a meeting. Curious, I followed him inside the conference room, where he was negotiating with a British businessman over a formula. Before coming here, I'd researched the deal. It was critical. I heard the British man's thoughts clearly. This formula is only worth a few hundred yuan. He tried to rip the Carter family off. I stepped forward and spoke in English. "I'm a woman, I understand skincare. Your formula only has whitening ingredients. It lacks anti-aging or wrinkle-reducing properties. Why is it worth 3 million? The man was stunned. Logan watched me silently. I continued. "Since it's a foreign product with some brand recognition, I'll offer 1 million. He looked shocked. I shook my head. 10,000, that's my final offer. The room fell silent. The man stood abruptly, angry. Who are you to name prices? He turned to leave. Logan calmly said, "Sign the contract and apologize to my wife." The man stopped, excited. I was baffled but didn't stop Logan. After signing, Logan explained quietly, "The formula itself is worthless. What I want is the brand. With more promotion, I'll recover the investment easily." Suddenly, I understood. This was a chance to learn something new, to grow. I asked Logan if I could run one of his branch companies. He studied me and smirked. "You're ambitious. You're not planning to take the company and disappear, are you?" I smiled. "No. I want to learn from you first." For days, I followed Logan, learning business and social skills. One night, he surprised me by inviting me to dinner at the most luxurious restaurant in town. To my shock, Sophia and Ethan were there. Sophia put down her fork when she saw us and said coldly, "Susan, you're here too." I smiled, looping my arm through Logan's. Ethan greeted us, but Logan ignored them and pulled me away. Sophia's glare burned into me. After I excused myself to the restroom, Sophia waited outside, furious. She sneered, "You must be getting beaten behind closed doors. Just looking at you makes me sick." I chuckled softly. My eyes caught the needle marks on her arm. "What happened to your arm?" So many needle marks. She panicked and covered them, lying it was something fun with Ethan. She smirked, "You wouldn't understand. Logan probably hasn't even touched you. Ethan wants me all night long." I wondered how long she could keep this act. I smiled brightly. "I wish you both a lifetime of happiness." Before I could leave, she yanked my hair hard. "Are you mocking me?" she snarled. I struggled, but Logan appeared and kicked her away. "Disrespecting your sister-in-law? Do you know the punishment for that?" he said coldly. Sophia's face went pale. Logan ordered Ethan to take her away. Later, Logan checked if I was okay. I said, "I'm fine." She just pulled my hair. He looked at me strangely. "Why did you argue with her?" I lied, saying Sophia accused me of being unloved. His eyes darkened. "Have you ever thought about being with me?" he asked softly. "No," I replied quickly. "Good," he said, then left. The next day, Logan sent me to run a branch company. I worked hard, chasing deals and profits. Mrs. Carter even let me take my share of earnings directly. Meanwhile, Sophia was released from the underground cell, still plotting. She clung to Ethan and said sweetly, "Sister-in-law, I want to learn business from you." Her thoughts betrayed her. "Soon I'll make sure you and Logan die together." I smiled inwardly. Logan had died mysteriously before. I now knew Ethan had caused it. I had to be careful. And that's just the start of my new life, with power, danger, and a chance to rewrite my fate. If you want to know what happens next, don't forget to subscribe. The story only gets more intense from here. When I thought I had finally caught a breath, I realized the storm was only just beginning. Sophia, my own sister, was out of that filthy underground cell, weak but still sharp as a serpent. And Ethan? He was still the dangerous man who haunted my nightmares. The day she was released, I was just stepping into the house, exhausted after a long day running the branch company. But there they were, walking toward me, Sophia clinging to Ethan like a lifeline. She looked thin, almost fragile, but her eyes burned with a fierce, hateful fire. "Sister-in-law," she said sweetly, but I heard the venom dripping in her thoughts. "I've already asked Mom if I can learn business from you. I want to ease your workload." But her mind told a different story. "Very soon, I'll make sure you and Logan die together." It hit me like a cold wave. Logan's death in my past life was sudden and mysterious. Now, I knew Ethan was the one who had poisoned him. And now, they wanted to kill me too. I swallowed the fear and smiled at Sophia. "Great. You can start tomorrow." Her inner voice spat back at me, "What an idiot. Just wait. I'll kill you both soon and live freely." She didn't know I heard every word. I wanted to know their plan, so I let her join the company, starting as an intern, watching her carefully. She hid her hatred well, nodding obediently, pretending to be harmless. But Sophia was playing a dangerous game, and I intended to play right back. Behind Logan's back, I went to Ethan. I knew his weaknesses. He loved obedient women. It was how I had survived beside him in my past life. I dressed in the kind of outfit I knew would catch his eye and smiled faintly. "Ethan, I like you." His interest lit up immediately. He leaned closer. "Sister-in-law, aren't you afraid Logan will kill you?" I bit my lip, pretending to be shy. "I've always wanted to be with you. And I have something important to tell you." His eyes narrowed, intrigued. "Sophia wants to poison you," I whispered. "I overheard her talking about it yesterday." His expression darkened, burning with fury. "You serious?" I nodded. "She's tired of being hit and wants to rise on her own." Ethan's lips curled in a cruel grin. "Then I'll make her pay." Turning to me, he said with sly confidence, "Once I get rid of Logan and her, you'll be my wife." I smiled politely, but inside I was thinking, does he really think I'm that stupid? There was no way I'd follow him into a trap. Without wasting time, I ran to Logan and told him everything. He raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Do you have proof Ethan wants to kill me?" I pulled out a voice recorder and played back my conversation with Ethan, the fake flirtation I'd used to gain his trust. Logan's face darkened. He didn't say a word, but I could feel the storm gathering in his eyes. Suddenly, he pulled me into his arms. The smell of pine wood surrounded me, and I could hear his steady heartbeat near my ear. "Susan," he said softly, "never think about betraying me. As long as you're my wife, be loyal." I was frozen. How did he twist it into that? "Forget that," I said quickly. "The important thing is your brother wants to kill you. What do you want to do?" He looked indifferent. "Let's see if he can." He didn't seem to take Ethan's threats seriously. That night, instead of hiding, Logan took me to a banquet. He said it would help with business and introduce me to clients. The room was full of powerful people. I felt eyes on me, some friendly, many not. Logan's inner voice surprised me. He thought, men are all the same. If I'd known, I wouldn't have brought her. I looked at him, shocked. The cold CEO I remembered was judging me silently. She's clueless, he thought. It was strange hearing this side of him. At the banquet, Sophia and Ethan were waiting. Sophia smiled fake warmth and invited us to dinner. Ethan, ever shameless, kept staring at my chest. "Brother, sister-in-law," he said with a grin, "Sophia and I bought some great ingredients today. Come eat with us." Logan ignored them and pulled me to a table. I caught Sophia's furious glare, probably wondering why Logan hadn't hit me or kicked me out. When I excused myself to the restroom, Sophia waited outside. Her eyes were murderous. "You must be getting beaten behind closed doors," she sneered. "Just looking at you makes me sick." I laughed softly. Then my eyes landed on the needle marks on her arm. "Sophia, what happened to your arm? So many needle marks." She panicked and covered her arm fast. "None of your business. It's something fun Ethan and I do." She smirked cruelly. "You wouldn't understand. Logan probably hasn't touched you like Ethan does, he wants me all night." Her miserable act was transparent. I smiled brightly. "I wish you both a lifetime of happiness." She grabbed my hair hard, yanking me back. "Are you mocking me?" I struggled, but Logan appeared in an instant. He kicked Sophia away. "Disrespect your sister-in-law again, and you'll face worse than this." Sophia went pale, knowing the underground cell was waiting. Logan ordered Ethan to take her away. Back in our bedroom, he checked if I was okay. "I'm fine," I said, brushing his hand away. He looked at me, confused. "Why did you argue with her?" I lied. She said we're not close. I got upset. His eyes darkened. "Have you ever thought about being with me?" he asked softly. "No," I said quickly. He nodded and left. The next day, Logan sent me to manage a branch company alone. I threw myself into work, negotiating deals, chasing projects, making profits. Mrs. Carter even allowed me to take my earnings. But the biggest threat was Sophia. She had been released, thin and fragile looking, but her mind was sharp. She clung to Ethan like a lifeline, but in her thoughts, she planned death and destruction. She wanted us gone. I kept my distance, watching her carefully. One day, I overheard a conversation between Sophia and a man about poisoning. I knew I had to act. Behind the scenes, I played my cards carefully. I used Ethan's obsession with obedient women against him. I flirted just enough to gain his trust. I whispered poison plots in his ear. Ethan was angry but blinded by his lust and hatred for Sophia. He planned to kill them both, Logan and Sophia, and marry me afterward. But I had other plans. I warned Logan. He was cold but careful. We installed security cameras, swapped drinks, and prepared for the worst. When the night came for the banquet, Sophia and Ethan tried to poison us. But it was they who fell unconscious. Logan smirked. "I'm not as foolish as you think," he said. For the first time, I felt truly safe. Sophia and Ethan were locked away again. But the danger never fully disappeared. They still wanted power, and I still had to fight. One day, after a long day of work, I visited Sophia in the underground cell. She was broken, hair messy, exhausted. "How did you find out I was trying to kill you?" she spat. I smiled and said calmly, "Sophia, you chose Ethan and Logan yourself. You never satisfied. The problem is you." She screamed in rage. I left, heart heavy but resolute. Next, I met Ethan folding blankets. His obsessive behavior was the same. He smiled coldly. "You're clever," he said. "I was ready to kill Sophia and Logan for you." I spat, "You're a monster." He stepped closer, murmuring about injecting me with a drug that would make me feel bliss. I ran before I could hear more. That night, Logan came home drunk. He stumbled into the bedroom and crashed into me. "You're drunk," I muttered, pushing him gently. He started unbuttoning his shirt, eyes dark with possessiveness. "Think carefully," I said firmly, "we're partners only. You can't touch me." He covered my mouth and whispered, "No matter what, you're my wife. I will touch you." I shoved him away. "I want a divorce." The room went silent. His face darkened. "I knew you were planning to leave." Then he spoke of someone from our childhood, Chase. He told me about a boy he protected, who had grown his hair to donate to his sick aunt. That boy was him. Logan was Chase. He said he'd been searching for me ever since. He knew I could hear thoughts too. He had waited for me to come to him. I realized why he never touched Sophia before. He knew she wasn't me. He kissed my cheek and whispered, "Stay with me forever." Tears filled my eyes. Forever. For the first time, I was sure this second chance at life was real. And I wasn't going to miss the person I was meant to love. Sometimes, life hands you a second chance not just to survive, but to rewrite every painful chapter. I thought I was ready for everything: Sophia's venom, Ethan's cruelty, Logan's icy walls, but nothing prepared me for what came next. The morning after Logan's confession about Chase, everything changed. That secret connection, the boy who had once needed protection, the man who had waited so long, it made all the difference. But there was no time to dwell on happy thoughts. The Carter family was a battlefield, and Sophia and Ethan were still out there, scheming. I was more determined than ever to protect what was mine. My company, my peace, and most of all, Logan. Sophia's return to the company was a quiet storm. She smiled on the surface but was a hurricane inside. Every day she tried to sabotage me, slow my progress, spread rumors, and pit people against me. One afternoon, I found out she was secretly meeting with a shady investor, someone I'd heard had ties to the Carter family's rivals. That was the last straw. I confronted her in the empty hallway. "Sophia, what are you doing?" She smiled coldly, eyes glittering with malice. "I'm taking back what should have been mine." I stood tall, unafraid. "Not this time. I'm not your victim." She sneered. "You don't understand. This family isn't about kindness or fairness. It's about power. And I'm hungry for it." Her words hit like ice. But I was ready. I whispered, "Power without loyalty is nothing. Remember that." The battle for the Carter family's future was on. Meanwhile, Logan and I grew closer, but the wounds from the past ran deep. One night, he told me about his mother, Mrs. Carter, the real force behind the family. She was a woman who ruled with an iron fist, demanding perfection and loyalty. "She didn't like Sophia," he said quietly, "but she respects you because you fight with your head, not just your heart." That respect was my shield. I knew if I could win Mrs. Carter over, Sophia's game would crumble. At the company, I worked harder than ever. I learned to read people like never before. My ability to hear thoughts was a secret weapon. I could anticipate moves, negotiate deals, and outsmart rivals before they even acted. One day, a business competitor tried to bribe one of my employees. I caught the thought before a word was spoken. I acted quickly, exposing the plot in a way that made me look like a hero. Word spread fast. My reputation soared. Sophia's whispers grew quieter. But the biggest test came when Ethan escaped the underground cell. His fury was terrifying. He confronted me in the parking lot one night, eyes wild, hands trembling with rage. "You think you can destroy me?" he hissed. I stood my ground, calm and steady. "I'm not the one you should fear. You're losing everything." He lunged. Logan appeared out of nowhere, blocking him with fierce protectiveness. A fight broke out, a physical battle that reminded me why Logan was the Carter family's rightful heir. Ethan was strong but reckless. Logan's control, power, and calm won. The guards arrived and took Ethan away again. That night, after the chaos, Logan held me close. "I won't let anyone hurt you," he promised. His words felt like a fortress. I leaned into him, feeling the warmth I never thought I'd find. But Sophia wasn't done. She had one last desperate move. At a family gala, she revealed a secret, something about Logan's past that shocked everyone. "He's not the true heir," she whispered loudly, "he's a fraud." Gasps filled the room. I saw Logan's face tighten, pain flickering in his eyes. But I wasn't going to let her win. I stepped forward and spoke clearly. "Logan may not be perfect, but he's the man who's fought for this family, for me, and for a future we can build together." I turned to Mrs. Carter. "And I stand by him." Mrs. Carter's icy gaze softened. She nodded slowly. Sophia's plan had failed. The weeks that followed were peaceful, for the first time in years. Logan and I built the company together, side by side. We hosted charity events, strengthened business ties, and slowly healed wounds. One quiet evening, Logan took my hand. "Susan, will you marry me not just as a business partner, but truly?" Tears welled up. "Yes," I whispered. We sealed our promise with a kiss. Looking back, I realized my second chance wasn't just about survival. It was about love, strength, and choosing who I wanted to be. I wasn't just the woman who heard thoughts. I was a woman who fought, who loved, and who won. Thank God I was given this chance. Thank God I didn't miss the person I was meant to love. If this story touched you or made you think about second chances and fighting for yourself, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you'd handle something like this. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's more stories like this coming your way.